Hi. How'd it go? They did what? You did? I can't take any credit for that. I'm just so proud of you. You know, this is what life looks like when you're tapped into your authenticity and equally aligned with your intuition. Remember, Mom always taught us to trust our guts. You're listening to Hey Big Sister with me, Meg. There's a different way to run your life and your business. One that allows you to truly connect with people on a human level. No more icky sales, no more comparisonitis, just you taking mindful, intentional, messy action to create success that you can be proud of. Let this episode be your guide. For the next few minutes, open your mind to new possibilities. And don't forget to pour me a little grace. I'm just like you, except I picked up the mic and started talking about all the things that go on in both of our heads. If this episode hits home for you, it would mean the world to me to have you leave the podcast a 5-star rating and written review. Also, could you do me a favor and text the link to this episode onto 3 of your best friends? You know, I'm a real human behind this mic, and I actually want to connect with you. Click the show notes below to connect with me on social media. I would love if you sent me a DM with your takeaway from this episode. You are family now. Here we go. Welcome back to Hey Big Sister for episode 11. I am so excited for you to listen to this episode. This is something that's really near and dear to my heart, so I wanted to do a quick introduction before you dive into the episode. This episode was recorded a few weeks ago with myself and my siblings, and I thought, who better than my siblings to be my first guests on my podcast that is aptly named after the relationship that I have with them. So since I was younger, being a sister has meant so much to me. And with all of my siblings, there is a kind of thread of entrepreneurship that also runs through all of us. A lot of the questions that people had for us were around our relationship and how we have stayed so close. So you'll get to hear a lot about that, and you will get to hear about how we've been influenced by each other and our businesses and how we support one another. We have a really, really amazing bond that I am thankful for every day. So Patrick, Colleen, Kelly, and Molly, thank you so much for being my first guest on my podcast. This is just so meaningful to me, and you guys taking your time to do this, really, it means the world to me. So I really appreciate it. And without further ado, here is our episode. So we're going to introduce everybody. We're going to go in age order. And obviously there's 5 of us on here today, so it might sound a little chaotic, but we think we have a plan. All right, Pat, you're up.
I am Patrick, the only brother. I live out in Los Angeles with my family. I headed west, far away from the family 15 years ago. I'm here with Amanda and Seamus and Fiona, my 3 and 1-year-old. I am a bartender out here that happens to own 7 restaurant bars. We're opening up our 7th tiki bar coming hopefully December 1st this year. And yes, I enjoy talking with my sister about entrepreneurship. I'm into real estate investing, and anything else that gets the wheels spinning.
Thank you, brother. All right, next up we have Colleen.
Hello, I'm Colleen, the middle child. I live on the North Shore of Massachusetts with my husband, Colin, and our 3 kids. I just released my first novel in June called Summer Breakdown that so many of Megan's supporters and my family supporters have really came through for me this summer. So thank you. And I'm just started work on my next novel, and I'm just kind of diving into the world there. It's going to be, I think, a bit more suspenseful and towards the thriller genre. So I hope people stick around to see what's next.
Awesome. And Colleen self-published her book, so she did all of her marketing and sales herself. So that is even more entrepreneurial because you have to not only have the creative side, but you have to have like the sales and marketing side as well. there was something else I was going to say about you, but we'll come back to that. I forget what it was.
Thank you. Good thing I have you around, my publicist, because I forget that part.
Oh, and what I was going to say is that she has already reached profitability with her book in the two months it was out.
A little over 2 months.
A little over 2 months, which is really amazing for a first-time author and really any self-published author. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And then next up, we have Kelly, who is our first entrepreneur, right? Were you in business first out of everybody before Pat?
I think we were like in around the same time. We were both, I don't know. When did you open the first one?
Torn Severn was 2015.
Oh, so Pat was
September
first.
2015.
Yeah.
Because you were working at a salon. Okay. All right. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Kelly. I am 4 or 5 out of the siblings. I have 2 children. Amelie is 4 and Parker is 1, and my husband, Brian. The only one left on Long Island out of the 5 of us. I went to Sassoon out in Santa Monica, California to become a hairstylist back in 2009. And then I opened my own salon in 2008. 3 months after having my first baby. So I've been there for almost 5 years, and I'm starting to shift my business more towards weddings and special events.
Awesome. Thank you.
And you house our parents.
Yeah.
And I just welcomed our parents into our home.
Into the home that we grew up in. We'll talk about that. We got to put
it's
that
your
in
next venture, your next entrepreneurial venture.
Yeah,
I'm getting into real estate now. I am a landlord.
You're a landlord?
6 months.
That is true. All right. Thank you, Kelly. And our last but not least, we have Molly.
Hello, I am Molly, number 5. I live in Central Mass with my husband and 3 kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom and a nurse to my 3 under 3. And I don't quite have my own business set up because I like to take many ideas from these 4 first and foremost.
You've had businesses though.
Yeah, well, not many that have gone beyond a few weeks' time.
It's part of our ADHD as well, but
yeah. So, still learning to hone in on my skills.
Your husband is part of his family business too.
Yeah, true.
And you advise him as his wife.
You have tie-dyed many
I
of
know.
the Merrimack
I've
Valley community.
A crafting business.
Yes.
Done some Disney crafts and tie-dye and
gone viral on TikTok. Many things.
a woman of many hats.
Exactly. Oh, there's so much. Okay, so there's so much that I'm thinking. But the first thing I was going to say is that after this one, we're going to see how the response is. And then I was telling Matt I should interview all of the in-laws together. So Nick, Amanda, Colin, and Brian. No, I don't think that would be able to be published. So
Amanda would have a lot to say.
Everyone, I'm sure we have.
So would Colin.
I was going to say we have some men in here who like the tea, and they'd be happy to chat. So
Brian, you would have to lock Kelly away in a different room, so Brian could have his own safe space.
We'll see if you vote on people. If people vote on that, we'll see what we can do. So the like the age order and birth order and stuff has been something that is really interesting in our family. We were actually, fun fact, some of us were actually on a TV show for it back in the 90s. It was like a morning show, and we had, I think it was me.
Excuse me, all of you were on it except for me.
Kelly.
Oh, okay. All of us. Except for
I was not on it.
He wasn't there.
But they wanted.
They didn't want the only boy either.
Oh,
I was not.
Oh,
So-
no, you weren't there, but I thought they wanted you since you were the only boy.
I wasn't there.
Maybe.
He didn't.
I don't know
make it.
where I was.
Ashley was with
I
us.
think I was in Ireland.
Oh, maybe. We did take a limo, and it was about first, middle, and youngest, essentially. So between myself and Patrick, there's 11 and a half months. We're actually the same age for 10 days. Then myself and Colleen, there's 3 years. Myself and Kelly, there's 6 years, right? And then me and Molly, there's 8 years. So within 8 years, there was 5 of us. And we for the most part of our family, we do follow like the typical psychology between birth order a lot. Like I am a very typical oldest. We have, and then Kelly is just not really a direct middle. She's just like the fourth, right? And Patrick,
the baby that never gave up the baby.
Yeah, because Molly is the baby, but not baby. Yeah, Kelly held the baby role. So she stays close to our parents and welcome them in. And like we said, it's a really cool story, but Kelly bought the house that we basically grew up in. We didn't move there until I was in 6th grade, but we lived there for a very long time. And our parents built an apartment where our grandparents then resided. They sold the house when everyone left, and it was in somebody else's ownership for 5 years, and Kelly lived a few blocks away and recently just purchased it, and it's completely redone and it's beautiful and it's really cool to be able to go back. Her daughter Amelie lives in the bedroom that I lived in, and she's very similar to me in a lot of ways. So it's funny to see.
Firstborn.
Yeah. And now our parents live in that apartment that my grandparents were in. They just moved in 2 days ago. So we'll update you when this podcast comes out, how they're doing and enjoying it. But also between all of us, there is how many children? 13 grandchildren or so.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of grandchildren. So another reason why I really wanted to do this and film this is for them one day. We grew up being really close, specifically to like our dad's side of the family, and our grandfather had 3 siblings. Yeah, 3 siblings. Okay. And they were all very close. And our grandmother had, one sibling that we knew very well. And we grew up with them and went to a lot of family events and stuff. And my grandfather's sister, our Annie Ann, specifically stayed really close in touch with all of us always. And it was always so nice to be able to hear stories about our grandfather from her. They had a really nice sibling relationship. And so I really wanted this to be somewhere so that our kids can see that one day, and maybe even their kids and whoever. Because we do. And that is one of the things that we do have really good relationship. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about today is our dynamic. A lot of people asked how we keep our dynamic. And I think there's a lot of luck, a lot of random, things that the fact that our birth order, things like that. But one thing that specifically our mom really, really instilled in us was that we come like first and foremost in each other's lives, like growing up. Loyalty and protection of each other was always really prioritized, at least in my opinion. Does anybody have anything to say on that?
Yeah, and just looking out for each other.
Yes. And that has continued through our adult life. All of us have been through trials and tribulations of some kind. And no matter what, even like with Patrick living on the West Coast or us not living in the same states, we always prioritize talking to one another. We always prioritize being there for one another. And the other common theme that I kind of picked up in like thinking about this is that we're all on a path of personal growth in some way or another. We're all always looking to get better at what we do, or to heal, to go to therapy, to do things like that. And I think that's really influenced us over the years. You guys can feel free to say something too. I don't want to just lead the Anybody have anything to say? You can raise your hand, or you can unmute too. I think let's just try that and see how. All right. Go ahead. Colleen's going to say something.
No.
You're not?
No, skip, pass.
Okay. So the other thing too is like in growing up, there's recently I heard something about when you're parenting, what you really want to focus on is like getting your children to be adult focused rather than friend focused, because you want them to come to you for the questions. You want them to come to you. And that is something that was really prioritized in our life. I think we all have friends that were really part of our growing up. We could give a shout out to Aaron Cleary, Mary Maisto, me, God rest his soul, a lot of different other people. Heather, yes, exactly. We have a whole list. Chris Floria. Shout out your people.
I don't have any.
Billy Markowski.
Yeah, Billy Markowski. Number one.
Yeah.
Lisa Zuccarello. We're going to shout you out. She came time over that. She did. And so the thing about it is like, they were all a big part of our lives, and each to a varying degree, people were closer with their friends or not. But like in the end, we always came back to each other. We did have really good relationships with asking our parents questions and things like that. So I was thinking about that and thinking how in growing up, we were kind of each other's center and focus, no matter even when we were doing things with our friends or whatever. I didn't do a ton with my friends. But my friends that I were close with were kind of integrated into our family. So I thought that was something that really stood out about our dynamic, is that we did always put each other first. Do you guys have anything?
So, I was just thinking another thing about, I think that something that about growing up that now has served us well as adults is that there was never a lot of competition between us five, which is, I think, rare. Like we never, not unless I'm remembering incorrectly, like we all had our things and there was not a big competitive vibe, maybe with like kicking the crap out of each other. But not like with like school or sports or, so there was never these like divides in that way that carried on through teenagehood or college. Like there was really, I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I don't think there was anyone close enough that cared about
and I feel
school. Like Colleen cared about school. I think Molly cared about school.
We're too far.
I didn't give a shit about school. Kelly, you could chime in. I don't know if you really cared as much as the others. Yeah. So
you
I
didn't
think
go to eighth grade, right?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Principal had to meet me at the front door to take me in.
I feel like our interests were spread out enough. Yeah. That like, whatever, if you were interested in something similar, it was probably somebody who was 2 kids below you.
Right.
Well, I mean, Colleen and I did Irish step dancing, and she was always way better at it than me. She was always better at basketball and school too, but I didn't have that much of a competitive nature just naturally. Like and all of us have this too, is like we wanted to see each other succeed too. It didn't make like I knew I was never going to be a professional basketball player. Like it wasn't.
Same. But we had to do it.
Well, and you're just a little bit more competitive than me, but not.
Well, that's the thing. Like I think if you were really competitive too, that would have divided us along the way. It's in some way, but luckily didn't.
Yeah. And Colleen and I went to high school together for 1 year, and I played varsity basketball for 4 years. So when I was a senior and she was a freshman, she played varsity too. And together we only won one game. We won one game that we had won in 4 years. So they wrote a 1-page article of us in on Long Island.
Yes. And then I transferred to St. Anthony's and played on her.
Well, I think that was the other thing too I was thinking about, because I was thinking about the same thing about the competition. And we all, except for Kelly and Molly, we all went to different high schools. So on Long Island, we all went to private school. We went to Catholic school our entire lives. And we had our own identities pretty much at these places. And I think that probably had something to do with it too.
Yeah, that's true. I was like in Babylon, I was always Big Pat's little sister. And then like at Merrimack, people knew me as your sister. But like in high school, I think we all definitely did have our own time of being like, being just us.
Even at St. John's, like Molly was better in academics. So our teachers didn't even cross. So she had her own identity because she was 3 years behind and in like the advanced classes.
Patrick went to an all-boys school. Why don't you talk a little bit about what it was like to be the only boy?
The only
down
boy
in the basement.
Yeah.
In your lair.
Amelie doesn't live where I live. Their shit probably lives where I live. If whatever accumulates down in the basement. Yeah, it was interesting. That's shout out to Chris Floria. I lived across the street most of the time, as much as I could at 41 Pond Place. But it was a challenge growing up, I think, but it served me well in my adulthood to have these sisters. But yeah, it was an interesting dynamic growing up. I was always getting in trouble. I have severe ADHD, and I like to meddle with people just to entertain myself. And I meddled with all four of them throughout the years, which entertains the stories entertain my nieces and nephews now that I used to fart in my cups and hold it and bring it to each one of my sisters.
I was telling that story last night.
Oh my god!
Yes, and each of my 11 nieces and nephews now we get to enjoy the history of 40 Pond.
Can't wait until your son. We can teach your son how to do it.
Yes, we'll show him
Your daughter, if Fiona would like to fart in cups as well.
She might be the cup farter.
She's trending towards them.
Yeah.
Which one were you most afraid of growing up? I'd like to know that.
You.
Yeah, nice. That's what I thought. Like to just.
She was the strongest. She probably is.
You were a fierce woman.
I thought I was the most feared.
No, not until later in life, Kelly.
You found your
Colleen didn't turn out to be a complete sociopath, but boy, could she fake a cry, and she would have been good at Big Brother Junior.
Or her strength was unparalleled when she would get mad.
The flip switches.
But the strength didn't matter as much as the manipulation of how she could drop a tear as soon as mom turned the corner.
The tears have always been real.
I did tell her kids about her. She had a very strong look when she was mad that she could scare people.
Maybe I should have been an actress.
They did like you were always into it.
It's funny because like you guys had like I don't know. I feel like Kelly and I had a separate childhood.
Yeah.
I'm not like this isn't connecting with me.
Like because Kelly and I fought, and like I feel like maybe I'm the Colleen 2.0 because like I was the strong physical fighter.
Oh my god, yeah, we never fought.
We didn't
I didn't
fight with you a lot because you were much younger than us. That'd be
kick the crap out of you.
By the time we were like, I was like in high school. How much older am I than you? I don't know. It was just
6 years.
5 years.
6 years. 5 years. 2 years older than Colleen. 2 years older than me.
I don't know. I remember a few meetings from Colleen and Patrick.
Well, me and you fought a lot.
Yeah.
But
this
we were kind of mean.
By the time Molly was, I was drinking Grey Goose at Chris's house. By the time Molly was, I was gone.
Oh, you used to chase us.
It's funny how we like bounced to people.
Thinking about how Megan moved into 40 Pond going into middle school.
Yeah, it was old.
Because I grew up there. I was two.
That's the only house you remember. Yeah.
Like that's so wild to me that you were like that was like prime time.
Right.
I
grew
grew
up
in Islip and then moved.
It's her third home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all three of our third home.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
I thought of that before.
Actually, we lived at Nana and Park for a little while.
Yeah, it was like my fifth home, but
But it's funny how we started at different. Like there were different times of our childhood that we were closer with one or the other at different times. I think.
Yeah.
So
like Kelly and I were
that's when you and I started fighting when you dropped me for Megan.
Right. But then eventually I dropped Megan for like Patrick and his friends.
Yeah.
So.
I wasn't a big player either. Like, and when I say player, I mean actually like imaginative play. Like I didn't play. I acted like an adult.
Because you were too busy raising poor kids. You were like on their scooters outside.
I didn't ride bikes.
You were playing Real House.
I hung out with Joanne McGinnis and Evelyn and watched people ride bikes.
Spud.
Yes.
Spud.
The Real Housewives of Hinton.
The essence of that is that if your children physically beat each other, they can still turn out. We've
had that conversation before. I feel like me and you, like when my kids fight or they're mean to each other, I'm like, why? Like, why can't you just be nice? Like, why are you not being like, you know, or, you know, Maggie and Natalie, sometimes I wish they had like a closer relationship or bond. And I just think it, like we've talked about that before, Meg, but like, I think it just changes over time, I guess. And it doesn't matter what's happening right now. It's not necessarily indicative of what's going to happen.
Right. Because we rarely, I mean, we didn't like sit around and like be nice to each other. Even if we were like, when I would do your hair for Irish step dancing or braiding your hair when you were like, it was like, it wasn't like this like beautiful like Norman Rockwell painting. It was like
no, we really fought like terribly. Like
I mean, we have scars. Yeah.
But we really do. Like
I don't remember too many calm times at all.
Exactly. Like there was more.
Right. When was it quiet and calm? And
there's none of that in my mind.
I was telling Amelie about like we were talking about the doors or something. I forgot, and I was like, we didn't have a door that worked on the bathroom. She's like, well, how would you shut it? And I was like, well, there was no frame because someone kicked it off. So it was just like, you had to hope for the best. And then eventually mom put one of those like latch locks on. So like someone kicked that in too. And my bedroom door, it was either from Molly or Patrick, I forget, had a huge hole, like, almost through the door.
Yeah.
Well, and on the bottom always had, on most of the doors, like basically it was like self-made dog flaps. Kicking the door in.
And I remember if Patrick got mad at you and you needed to run away, you try to make it first to the small bathroom in the front
and lock
because it had a lock. So if you could get there and you're sweating.
Patrick and I fought for a little, like when we were a little, but not a lot. As we got older.
But like Patrick would just
fourth grade, I showed up.
Like,
he would never actually hurt us.
He gave you a little tap on the face.
Showed up with a hematoma.
Yeah, that I did do to you.
I was fourth grade, Miss Frederick's class. She had to report it. Thinks that mom and dad beat
God
me.
rest her soul.
No, that was me. I pushed him.
R.I.P. Jane.
And then after that, I was too scared that I would kill you if I hurt you. So I didn't do much after that.
Didn't want to go to juvie.
No, I didn't want to go to voodoo. I had a very guilty conscience my whole life.
Didn't we all?
I'm going to open up our questions quickly, but for our dynamic, how have the bonds been formed and maintained? So on that too, I think that when you have 5 children too, there's a lot that we did together. Like my mom, our mom was a stay-at-home mom. Our dad worked outside of our house, and he was a lawyer in Manhattan for some of it. He was a lawyer in wherever, but he had much longer days, and we just spent a lot of time watching each other, helping each other, playing with each other, doing things like that. So that is how our bond like formed and grew. And then as we've become adults, like Molly, Colleen, and Kelly for one semester, and I all went to Merrimack, which is the college that we went to. So we spent time together, like as young adults, and then we've all also like had similar interests too. I think. I don't know. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
We traveled a lot together growing up, and I think mom and dad really prioritized that, and we were lucky enough to have the money to do that, I guess. And I think traveling a lot when we were younger, it's not a huge part of it, but definitely.
Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah.
I don't want to take any credit away from anyone that went to war. I'm not a veteran, but when you grow up in a family of 5, it's kind of a war
zone. Yeah.
We're trauma bonded.
The childhood trenches.
Yes. Mom and dad did a great job, did their best, but still 5 kids 2 kids is a hell of a job over here. So 5 kids going in different directions, and that's as close to war that I hope I ever know. No.
I was going to say, we always had to kind of like figure it out on our own too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember, like not in a bad way, but like mom saying, like work it out yourself. Like I don't know. We worked through things, whether healthy ways or unhealthy ways. We always worked through with each other.
We did, and there was no like alone time. So like what I see different in like Matt and his sibling, they had they had a lot of time on their own, like individual time. Like they had their own bedrooms, they had their own sports. They're 4 years apart. Like there was a lot of independence there, but we didn't have that. Like for the first few years of our lives, the three, like me, Colleen, and Kelly all shared a bedroom, and then me and Molly shared a bedroom. And so there was a lot of time together, and we did have to like figure it out. So
even when you were all out of the house, Molly and I shared a bedroom. When we
didn't know how to be alone at that point.
We had 3 other empty rooms when we decided to move in together to one small one.
I like couldn't wait until I got my own room, and then everyone wanted to sleep with me because I had a queen size bed. Well, the girls, not Patrick, but Patrick was always
had my own room,
yes,
or cave or cavern.
Yeah. You did always have it. But yes, that is true too about just we were very, very bonded. And I think there was another thing that I was like thinking as adults too. The majority of us don't drink. And the one that does drink is not a very wild drinker by any means, nor a instigate like looking for controversial things to talk about or anything like that. So I think that that's helped because during those times when we did drink as adults and we were together, like I was thinking about when we went to like the Outer Banks and stuff, like there was a lot more fieriness around us.
Spice the life.
Spice, yeah, spice. And now that isn't the case. Like we're, when we are together, we're going to bed, leaving each other because we have to put our kids to bed by 7 or 8 o'clock. And I think in a way that helps because all of us, most of us are very opinionated. We have strong opinions. We have strong thoughts. And that can get dangerous, especially if you're uninhibited in what you are saying or wanting to share with people.
It's funny that I feel like I'm maybe the least opinionated or would
exactly.
share,
like
and
you
I'm
wouldn't
the one that drinks.
Right. So it's a little bit safer.
Maybe that balance.
Molly wouldn't really either, I feel like.
Molly could get a little
share my opinion.
Loose-lipped when she drinks.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. But I mean, like, yeah, I guess. But so that I think has helped in adulthood, in honesty, like when I think about it. And we don't get to do a ton of like holidays all together with Patrick on the West Coast. Like all of us, we all have in-laws and things like that. So there's not often times that we're like, I mean, it also is what it brings it over like 25 people if it's all of us. And then
shout out to the Newtons. My Norman Rockwell family.
Yes. Well, we all have that. Yeah.
If they all, if some of our in-laws got to step into one of our holidays, if our in-law whole party, your in-laws are very integrated with our family. They've all experienced the highs and lows of the mescal.
Yeah, they're basically just, like Carrie's like a sister, and Deb and Larry are just one of us.
Well, and that's the other thing. It's like if we have everybody, it would be 50 something, it would be so many people.
Like 100 people,
Right. And, only Big Pat has the room for all of that. And we haven't yet brought us all out to LA.
I mean, I think we should do that one day.
We'll all come with our in-laws and whatever sister and
all siblings.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Amanda might rent an Airbnb somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something that I always thought was really funny. We all married someone with one sister, except for Nick has 2 sisters, no brothers.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
So Matt has one sister, Amanda has one sister, Colin has one sister, Brian has one sister, Nick has 2 sisters.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
Anybody listening who's a psychologist or something, tell us about that. So yeah, that dynamic has just helped us over the years. And then also we stay in good touch with each other too. For the majority, we talk, multiple times a week, a day, sometimes. And all of our children are really close too. Like they are, and this is the other thing that I was thinking about before this too. Like we were talking about, we were very close with my dad's side of the family, and he had 2 cousins, Aunt Joni and Honey, and they lived on Long Island, and both of them had really big families too. Honey had 5 kids. Aunt Joni had 7 kids, and we all went to school together growing up. And we went to a Catholic school. And at one time, there was one of our family members in each grade but one for a year. So like we knew we always had like cousins around.
There was like 6 of us on student council at the same time.
We ruled the school. So we were very close with them. Patrick was really close with both, you know, the boys in both of the families. So he didn't have brothers, but he did have, you know, the Lennox and Danny and stuff. And our kids are like that. Even though we are in different states too, we have FaceTime. So even like Seamus and Fiona get to know their cousins, and then when we get to spend time together,
he calls all of every friend now. He calls his cousins because he has so much fun with his cousins. Oh, cousins.
I love that.
Cousins.
Ohana means family.
It's so Hawaiian.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Cousin.
Much aloha.
Yeah. Okay, one more. Let's see. One more question.
Patrick, I was going to say that's where your entrepreneurial journey started in student council as the religious commissioner of religious affairs.
And selling chocolate bars and stuff.
I was an entrepreneur from.
You were.
At the O'Neill House.
At the O'Neill House, charging to cross the bridge.
Remember, Mom made you give it back to everyone?
I got
some baseball cards and plates here ready for you to open up.
Bring back to California.
Chris and I could have moved out of our own houses at 11 and 12 or however old we were from stealing people money from Habitat for Humanity, going up to people's doors.
Mercy. Oh my God.
Awful.
Yeah.
He donates greatly now.
Instead, we spent it all at, what the hell was a pizza place? Amore.
You're always friends with local town entrepreneurial.
You were always a small business supporter.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chris is an entrepreneur himself now.
Yeah.
Yes. Blows inflatables.
Plug it
for all your party needs.
Or your bounce house needs. Okay, so let's talk about the entrepreneurship part too. I think when I was thinking about this part too, we were always encouraged to go to college. Like that was something that Mom and Dad talked about a lot, but 2 of us did not go to college, and they ended up becoming the first entrepreneurs and had a lot of financial success with that. So I think that showed us, like gave us the social proof that it was possible too, and that like you can do things differently, because we, not only was it just like we were hearing stories, but we got like an intimate look of what it was like to build a business from both of you. So do you want to share anything on that?
I remember when I first opened in 2018, and when I was on the phone with you and I told you like my goal is within the first 3 years, I want to have a month where I bring in $10,000. And you were like, what do you mean? Like you're going to make $10,000 in 1 month? And like, you just like, were like floored. And 2 months later, I did it like 3 years early. Like I was giving myself the 3 years, and I did it within the first few months. And I don't know. I remember after that, like, I feel like you were like, I'm going to find a way to like make a lot of money. Like, I don't know. Like our conversation shifted after that. Like
I definitely needed to see that it was possible. I mean, and I did it within the second month of my business.
Yeah. And then like, quadrupled it. And you were like, how does this happen?
And I think that that's the thing with business and money and stuff. Like you create a lot of stories in your head. And to me, it was like I was in social services or, you know, that kind of work and marketing. And I just knew the cap for that was like $60,000, $70,000 at the time. Like I was never going to make more than that. So to see, like it just really flipped. Like you're raised one way, you're told like you, and not just by our parents, I mean like society, you're told you have to go to college to make money, you have to do these things. And then here we had like our siblings showing us that that's not true. It's just not true. So it gave me like the ability to create new neural pathways of saying like, no, like you don't have to do it this way. You can do it differently. So you have anything, Pat?
No, I'm I consider myself lucky. The path that, I mean, it was a pretty sloppy path that I took, but I couldn't work for anyone. I didn't like authority from mom and dad. I didn't like it from Chaminade. I hated it. I failed out of the 4 different colleges that I tried. Not because I don't think I'm stupid. It's just I didn't go to class. I wasn't. So and we're finding success now, but I don't think I'm the smartest person either. I've just got lucky that I didn't. I think college is great for a lot of people, but I also think it puts you in a box and only thinking one way. I think I'm the luckiest person in the world to do what I do and make the money I make and get to be home whenever the hell I want and have have really good teams running my businesses, and I'm here with my 2 kids. So
I think luck plays a big part for you, but I think like within the last 10 years, you had a huge personal shift, and put a lot of work into yourself, and that aligned you in the path that you were taking. Had you not found the strength yourself to start that path, like that was all you, like not luck, that was your decisions. And then because you aligned yourself, everything else started to flow. Your family, your love life, your money, your businesses. Like if you didn't make that decision for yourself, luck wouldn't have come in as such a big picture, I think.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah. I wouldn't have, I gave up drinking 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And if I was drinking, there's no way I'd have the keys to 7 bars. That just wouldn't have been, So, but yeah, I'm lucky that once you know that this is a way to do it, it's like now it's just a formula. And I have stress every day, but it's a stress that I put on me from wanting to build bigger. I started making the other day, I could have a very good life owning one place for the rest of my life. I just being in there and making the same amount that a 70-hour a week attorney is making in Manhattan, like stressing. And I could do that with one place, going in, shaking hands, reading the newspaper, saying hi to people. I think that's it's such a hard shift in the American brain, or the household we grew up in, where go to Chaminade, go to Notre Dame, and which is all good things. And that's what parents want to instill in their children. But yeah, I hope that's a struggle. How much do I want to push my kids, but how much do I also want to take them out of the matrix and say, that's not the, you want society wise, you want them to have good relationships in school and go to college. For me, my parents, they always talk about how much money they wasted and stuff. Me going to Marist was the best thing in the world. I met some of my best friends, Rory, who I talk to all the time, Snake, who passed away, who was he was like a brother to me.
All of them.
Yeah. Shout out to the Sly Fox. But going to Marist was a growth. I mean, I had a 1.2 GPA. So yeah, it was not on paper was not a success, but for me, everything led me to failing out of there and then going to work at Smith & Wolinski's or doing mortgages in the '08 crash of being part of the chop shop of Babylon over there. Or working at the Babylon Bean with Joe and talking to all the local guys. That's my life now. I go to my local bars and talk to the same people and the fat Phillies of the world. And I thought about it. And Amanda, you're very smart. You did, but I think I am. I've got a decent, but luck plays a big role in how I came to find my path over here. I kind of couldn't do anything else, so I was going to do this, and
you made it work.
You're very brave, though. You've been able to see these opportunities along the way and just go for it, and not. I mean, maybe you doubt yourself internally at some point, but without, it seems from the outside, a ton of doubt and just kind of go for it. You've always been able to just do that, I feel like, and that plays a big part in all of it too.
Yeah. Anyone listening, go for it. It is easy. And and it's probably I don't even know if this is like inappropriate, maybe, but it's easy to make $100,000 not working.
People don't like to hear
hours.
that, though.
I know,
but that just points out where they have to shift. Like, you don't have to believe it. That's fine. But
that's what I feel bad for people. Like, there's so many people that are so much smarter than me that will never make that shift, and it's because things are ingrained in you. Get rid of that shit because
they have to unlearn it.
It's so hard to break away from the grind.
I know. You can start a business and work 10 hours a week and make $100,000.
Yeah.
And
I was just thinking about this.
It doesn't have to be something you're passionate about. You don't have to find it's much better if you can wake up every day and do the things you love. My business partner is my best friend. It's really, I just get to bullshit with him all day, fight with him about things, figure things out, and then go talk to a bunch of fun drunks. So I leave, but you don't have to. You could start a cleaning company and never clean a house.
Yeah.
Just deploy people. I've been down every rabbit hole in the internet. If I lost it all, I know that I can make $100,000 just by figuring it out. And I don't want to sound like a guru that I listen to on TikTok all the time, but it's out there.
Well, and we always have all had that like belief that like we're always going to figure it out. And even when we haven't felt like we're going to figure it out, maybe it feels like a more darker time for one of us, somebody else in our family is going to tell us like, no, it's not. Like, this isn't the end of the world. You're going to figure this out. And that has been really helpful, I think, in all of our journeys, because I believe the same thing. And all of us in some way or another have neurodiversity, which we've just like been discovering this year. And I have having a child with autism. And he might very well go to college. Like, I don't know. But like when he was diagnosed, it kind of makes you reevaluate and say like his path might not be as typical as what I had thought that I would when I had kids. So I have to open my mind to that. And doing that was amazing just for me then, because it showed me that you can change your mind. You can change even, I have a degree. And I do use it still, even though it's not directly like what I went for. It kind of is. Who knows? Whatever. It doesn't. But that is, we've always like encouraged each other that way. And did anybody else have anything to say on that?
I was just going to say about, I was thinking about this week about how like growing up, you get told things about like who you are and how you are as a student or whatever. And like hard worker is like one of the things that like you aspire to be like a hard worker or whatever. And like, I remember when I went off to beauty school, I was like, I don't want to be a hard worker. I don't want to work. Like that sounds bad, but I mean it in the sense that like, I wanted things to come to me with ease. Like I wanted to work 3 days a week. I didn't want to wake up and go to work before 11 o'clock. I didn't want to be working till 10 o'clock. Like there were things that I had, and I modeled my business after that and like set myself up for when I became a mom. I wanted to have the end of my pregnancy off, or I wanted to have 6 months with my baby. And like, I didn't want to work hard at making money. I just wanted it to come with ease. So like, that's something, I mean, I'm sure I don't know if I'm saying it right, but like.
You are, but mom did prioritize that too. Like our mom, before like the internet and stuff, like let us take off from school for mental health days sometimes.
Yeah.
Like if we didn't, we did have.
Never me.
Not you, baby. No. She needed you to go to school.
You need be bleeding from every orifice.
Having 3 children myself, I understand sending the ones that might be a little bit more challenging at times to school. But she also, like, she never made us do like sports if we didn't really want to, or like was never like, we had to do our step dancing for a long time. I did.
Not me. I got to drop out.
Molly got to drop out. But there were some things, there was a bit of air of like, that wasn't the priority.
No pressure.
It was like, if we did have a priority of like doing things together, traveling together. Like poor Colleen didn't get to come to France, but
neither did Patrick. We had a party at home. But that's hi Emily. We did have like, it's just nice to acknowledge, I think, in this conversation that we obviously did have, for all the chaos. We grew up with 5 children in a house. We had a lot of privilege. We had our parents,
private education,
that were there. We had we've all faced struggles, but we've all had many opportunities come into our life for various reasons of who, someone might know, or connections we've always had a good network of people through our family, through our parents, through each of our siblings. That has definitely helped along the way, for sure.
As crazy as you are, Mom and Dad, they were very supportive in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
When I think they finally just gave up on pushing me. Like when I told them I was going to comedy university, like we
all came and watched it. Yeah, they were excited.
Yeah, like they were there.
Yeah.
Parr wrote a check for it. Our grandfather, R.I.P. to the great Parr. Yeah. And he thought it was probably the stupidest thing that he's ever heard in his life. And he wrote a $7,000 check to send me to a comedy institute for a year. So they were very, I know Dad would have loved to seen us all go to Notre Dame.
Right.
But I think they were very proud of the paths that we eventually found.
Yeah, like when we met Molly's roommate at St. Mary's, her mom, who was like in charge of Sassoon for the East Coast, and Megan was encouraging me to go to beauty school. And I was talking to Dad about it, like just like a week before. Dad was like, "Yep, sign up. Like you're going. Like that's where that's what you're doing." Like I think he was also sick of me jumping colleges, bouncing around, but he was very supportive of that decision and sending me out there.
Yeah, like they did want us to go to college, and like follow that formula, but like they also did want us to find our passions. And
it was more just like
wanted us to be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Dad wanted us to be able to support ourselves too. Like before we were married and whatever. Yeah. Like he found that important.
We always felt like we could really do what we wanted in life. Mm-hmm. Like we really could go for it, I think.
We were
in part to them.
And we were encouraged to like have our own, like our mom always let us cut our hair the way that we wanted, or dye our hair, or get piercings, and like things like that. They did encourage our individuality, and in a time that many people did not do that, especially within the societal like box that we grew up in, going to Catholic school, things like that. Like they did, we all were, varying degrees of that. Like
it's very weird because like you said, I have extreme guilt, but I never was scared to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I still have a sense of extreme guilt of stuff, but like just I don't know how that works. But
that's a generational thing too.
Yeah.
Of like,
but I wasn't scared to say I'm doing this, or no, I'm going to be a waiter in the city, or I'm moving out to California. Like none of that. I didn't care about anyone's opinion, but there was I don't know. It's a weird mix of things.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of generational healing happening, and like with Patrick is a non-drinking bartender, and that is something that generations before us were unable to do successfully because of drinking and things like that. And now you've stopped that and healed that, and the same thing for we're all going after what we want in life and our dreams, and like maybe our parents didn't get to do that in the same way, but they have supported us in that aspect of like just going for it. I mean, I know like people probably thought I was crazy to start a coaching, but like I think Mom for a while was like, "Are you like scamming people or what are you doing?"
She probably still has no clue what you're about. Like, she's very supportive, but
but it's not as clear cut as Colleen writing a book and Molly going to nursing school and Kelly cutting hair and stuff like. So yes, it's different. But all right, so we will wrap this up now, and if anybody has anything that they want to share, plug that they're doing, let's do that really quick. Patrick, so your tiki bar, and what else? Tell us where your bars are located, restaurants.
We're in the Los Angeles metro area, spanning we're in 50-mile radius. So if you're ever out here, you can ask Megan where.
Yes, we do have California
and
listeners.
meet some very interesting people. I own from a higher end gastropub down to the down and dirtiest biker bar out in Riverside, California. So
Torrance Tavern has great food.
Yeah,
Torrance
wonderful
Tavern's
menu.
a great place to watch if you're rooting for the Rams this season or the Dodgers in the postseason against the New York Mets, maybe in the NLCS. You come out and
and the Patriots fans.
Nachos.
The Patriots fans can go to Patty's.
Patriots fans, any Massachusetts people here, we raffle off a Patriots jersey every year for the home of the South Bay Patriots in Redondo Beach off of Aviation. Shout out to Mom and Dad. We love you. You got off very easy on this podcast, though. The next one will be the part 2 will be the true Hollywood story where all
that includes the in-laws.
Subscribers.
Yeah, paid. You only get that if
paid
you join our Patreon.
Yeah. That'll be $150 pay per view.
That's not free content.
It's special.
Listen, we're always looking to make money, all of us. So we're all on the. You want it? We'll sell it to you. All right, Colleen, you're up next.
I would love for you to buy Summer Breakdown, my novel, wherever you buy your books. It's available everywhere. I am hoping to put together some resources for self-publishing indie authors. I learned a lot along the way on the road to publishing Summer Breakdown, and I invested $7,000, and I'm at a profit above profit, now. And I really would love to share some of that knowledge with people, and I would love. Thank you. Look at that.
Patrick's showing the book right now.
I love it. Yes, all my biggest supporters here. Yes, we might be changing seasons, but it's always summer and seaside. So please come visit.
And Colleen will be building a course. So if you're thinking of just learning how to write a book and then eventually potentially self-publishing, that will be on the market soon.
Well, yeah, I wanted to say just one thing about that too. And Patrick was saying, you don't have to, find your passion, and you can make a lot of money. And that is so true. And then you can also find ways to, I always thought I like to write. It's a hobby. It's art. You can't make money, but you can. Only in the last 2 years have I learned and taught myself the ways around that. And so I really do hope to help people learn more about that along the way.
Especially moms who are at home, like Colleen did it with the book, but not only just writing for the book, she's freelanced and wrote for so there are ways that
there are a lot of people looking for content and will pay you, and ways to figure it out. So
don't give it away for free.
Yes.
Less. All right. And Kelly.
My Venmo handle is, you could just send me.
She will send you feet pictures. Just
send me your money. No, my salon is in Salons by JC, located in Bayshore. But like I said, I would love to be shifting into more weddings and special events there. So that's really where I'm headed. But I do bits and colors too.
She'll be building a course soon too. Don't worry.
Yeah.
At Hair by Kelly May.
Yeah. Thank you.
And finally, we have Molly. What do you want to do next, Molly?
That is where will my
$1 million question.
Molly has 3 children under 3.
Maybe survival for the next 18 months.
Yeah, just get through.
I'm just focusing on school starting this week and getting a few hours to myself.
She's in it where we were 6 years ago-ish for me. Yeah. It's still crazy. It's a different kind, though. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. You can find everybody on Instagram. I will put their Instagram handles in the show notes. And if you have any questions that come up from this, please let us know. And we really appreciate you being here. This is the longest podcast that I've created. And I'm very happy that it was with my siblings. So have a great day, and we will see you soon. Thank you. Before you go, do me a favor and leave a 5-star rating and written review. The more we connect, the more the world is connected. As I love to say to all of my groups and my clients, rising tides lift all boats. See you next week.